Alright, so late breaking news. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to do another video today, but here we are. Alright, so the Arizona lawmakers vote to undo near total abortion ban from 1864, with Governor Hobbs expected to sign. Now, I was contemplating waiting till after she signed to do this video, but yeah, she's going to sign. She said she's going to sign it, so I might as well do it now. Okay. The Arizona legislature approved a repeal of a long dormant ban on nearly all abortions Wednesday, advancing the bill to Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs, who is expected to sign it. Two Republicans joined with Democrats in the Senate on the 16-14 vote in favor of repealing a Civil War-era ban on abortions that the state's highest court recently allowed to take effect. The repeal bill narrowly cleared the Arizona House last week. So there are a few Republicans who are either up for re-election or just moderate enough that they actually still use some sense. But either way, it was a close one. But at least it's been repealed. Hobbs said in a statement that she looks forward to quickly signing the repeal into law. The devastating consequences of this archaic ban are why I've called for it to be repealed since day one of my administration, she said. Really? Well, a lot of people were anticipating the repeal of Roe, so maybe that's why. That would make sense. Arizona women should not have to live in a state where politicians make decisions that should be between a woman and her doctor, Hobbs continued. Exactly. And that's what any of us have been saying. While this repeal is essential for protecting women's lives, it is just the beginning of our fight to protect reproductive health care in Arizona. The revival of the 19th century law had put Republicans on the defensive in a battleground state for the presidential election. Across the country, women are living in a state of chaos and cruelty caused by Donald Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris said in a statement on Wednesday. And for those who don't agree, he happily reminds people that it's because of him, it's because of the people he put on the Supreme Court, which was 3 justices, that Roe was overturned. He happily says that, unless it's politically damaging, in which case he acts like he has no idea what's happening, but most of the time he takes credit. What is happening in Arizona is just the latest example, she continued. While Arizona Democrats have worked to clean up the devastating mess created by Trump and his extremist allies, the state's existing ban, with no exception for rape or incest, remains in effect. Remember, this was at a time when women were seen as property. So, of course, the only thing about rape or incest anybody would be interested in was how it affected the husband. Nobody else cared about anything else. So, yeah. If the repeal bill is signed, a 2022 statute banning the procedure after 15 weeks of pregnancy would become Arizona's prevailing abortion law. Still, there would likely be a period when nearly all abortions would be outlawed because the repeal won't take effect until 90 days after the end of the legislative session, likely in June or July. So for those women who are on the cusp of the 15 weeks, that's going to cut it close for them. But if you can wait, then you're golden. Arizona State Attorney General Chris Mays called the vote a win for freedom in our state. but expressed concern that without an emergency clause, Arizonans would still be subject to the near total abortion ban for some time. Okay. Curious as to why. Rest assured, my office is exploring every option available to prevent this outrageous 160-year-old law from ever taking effect, she said. The near total ban on abortions, which predates Arizona's statehood, permits abortions only to save the patient's life and provides no exceptions for survivors of rape or incest. And as we've mentioned many times, saving a patient's life is not the gold standard people think it is, because we are talking about being permanently maimed, we are talking about losing reproductive organs. So, no, that's not the gold standard. And as it turns out, it shouldn't be politicians' business. Actually, it just sucks that it's 15 weeks, because fetal viability should be the gold standard. If we're going to legislate abortion, it should at least be fetal viability, like what I just mentioned in the Florida case, in the Florida referendum that is going to be on the ballot in November, because that makes the most sense. Anyway, in a ruling last month, the Arizona Supreme Court suggested doctors could be prosecuted under the 1864 law, which says that anyone who assists in an abortion can be sentenced to 2 to 5 years in prison. I'm sure that they're filled with wackaloons. Not just Republicans, wackaloons. Trump Republicans. Voting on the bill stretched more than an hour, and impassioned speeches about the motivations behind individual votes. Amid. This is about the Civil War era ban that criminalizes doctors and makes virtually all abortions illegal. The ban that the people of Arizona overwhelmingly don't want, says Democratic Senator Eva Birch. We're here to repeal a bad law. I don't want us honoring laws about women written during a time when women were forbidden from voting because their voices were considered inferior to men. Let's just say what it is. Women were considered property at this point. There were numerous disruptions from people in Senate gallery as Republican State Senator Shauna Bollock explained her vote in favor of repeal, joining with Democrats. GOP State Senator Jake Hoffman denounced Republican colleagues for joining with Democratic colleagues, calling it an affront to his party's principles. It is disgusting that this is the state of the Republican Party today, Hoffman said. Advocates on both sides of the abortion issue arrived outside the Arizona Senate on Wednesday to emphasize their views. They included people affiliated with Planned Parenthood and faith-based groups opposed to abortion. A school-age girl kneeled in prayer in front of a table holding a large statue of the Virgin Mary, while a man with a megaphone shouted at passers-by to repent. Jesus would hate you guys. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Anyway, I'm expecting it will be repealed, but I am praying it won't be, said Karen Friggin, who was handing out brochures from the Arizona Right to Life. All right, Arizona is one of a handful of battleground states that will decide the next president. Former President Donald Trump, who has warned that the issue could lead to Republican losses, has avoided endorsing a national abortion ban, but said he's proud to have appointed the Supreme Court justices who allowed states to outlaw it, like I mentioned. And I'm pretty sure that even though he's saying that he doesn't endorse a ban, I'm sure if one ended up on his desk, he would sign it. Because even though he personally probably doesn't believe in this crap, he'll do anything to keep himself in power. So the law has been blocked since the U.S. Supreme Court's 1973 Roe v. Wade decision guaranteed the constitutional right to an abortion nationwide. When Roe v. Wade was overturned in June 2022, though, then Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich, a Republican, persuaded a state judge that the 1864 ban could again be enforced. Still, the law hasn't actually been enforced while the case was making its way through the courts. Mays, who succeeded Brnovich, urged the state's high court against reviving the law. Planned Parenthood officials vowed to continue providing abortions for the short time they are still legal, and said they will reinforce networks that help patients travel out of state to places like New Mexico and California to access abortion. Advocates are collecting signatures for a ballot measure allowing abortions until a fetus could survive outside the womb, typically around 24 weeks, with exceptions, to save the parent's life or to protect her physical or mental health, which sounds very reasonable. Republican lawmakers, in turn, are considering putting one or more competing abortion proposals on the November ballot. Right, because let's make this as complicated as possible. About the dude who wants people to repent. I'm sorry, but could you tell me where in the Bible it says it's a sin to have an abortion? Because I don't see that anywhere. I really don't. Anyway, a leaked plan document outlined the approaches being considered by House Republicans, such as codifying existing abortion regulations, proposing a 14-week ban that would be disguised as a 15-week law because it would allow abortions until the beginning of the 15th week, and a measure that would prohibit abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy before many people know they're pregnant. None of those, all of those are draconian. They're all meant to confuse people, to have all three of them on the ballot, but all of them suck. House Republicans have not yet publicly released any such proposed ballot measures. All right, so that is the end of that article, but that's good news for Arizona. I believe that's all I have for this video. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one.